Vanakkam. Hello friends. In the previous episodes on Know Your Roots, we saw the origin of language and the origin of religion. Now let's delve into the origin of Tamil, as in Tamil Nadu, that is the land, Tamil language and Tamil culture, the interconnectedness of which helps establish our identity as the Tamil people. Anthropologists are of opinion that one of the first markers of a civilization is its language, the mother tongue, the evolution of which happens along with its culture. Having said that, to understand where Tamil culture or Tamil civilization began, we have to look into our archaeological records supported by archaeogenetics, the records of the history of other countries and dynasties that talk about us, and our own language and literature. Starting with archaeogenetics, our race, which is marked by features such as the color of the skin, the hair, and facial features. We know that out of 1.7 million years ago, the Homo erectus came from Africa and settled in these regions. They were almost driven to extinction when the second exodus happened again from out of Africa 70,000 years ago, the Homo sapiens. And traces of these negroid races are found more so in the tribal communities of the present Tamil country, such as the Irulars, the Pulayas, and the indigenous tribes of the Andaman. And as Professor K. A. Neelakanda Sastry describes in his A History of South India, there is also a strong presence amidst the jungle tribes, the Kurumbar, of the proto-astroloid features, which he says can be deciphered by looking at the very famous sculpture of the dancing girl of the Indus Valley civilization with her marked protruding lips. He also says there is a strong presence of proto-Mediterranean type of people in the Tamil-speaking regions with their typical long narrow heads, dark brown hair and medium to aquiline noses. Then come the Armenoids, a race not originating from this region but from the regions of the Iranian plateau around the Persian Gulf, which he traces to the maritime trade that must have happened a long time ago between these regions, further proven by the fact of common cultural elements found between that region and ours. Having said that, if we go into the archaeological evidence, we already saw that the upper Paleolithic age between 50,000 and 10,000 BCE, the Aurignacian culture left no markers anywhere on the Indian subcontinent. Next is the Neolithic age, which is from 10,000 to 3000 BCE, and followed by the Bronze Age, which is 3000 to 1000 BCE, and the Iron Age, which is 1000 BCE to current times. If we were to look at all the exciting excavations that we talk about today, such as Porundal, Arikamedu, Adichanallur, and up to Kiradi in recent times, they all fall within the gambit of the Iron Age, that is less than 1000 BCE. If we were to look at the historical accounts of the great travelers like Pliny, Ptolemy, and Megasthenes, they also fall within the same 1000 BCE, including the Mahavamsa, the famous Sri Lankan work, which is around 534 BCE. Now, other than that, if we were to go a little behind, around 1500 BCE, a settlement around the area of Payampalli, which is 5 kilometers from Bargur in the Velur constituency. Here, the ASI in the year 1964 did a huge excavation that established the presence of a pure Neolithic culture. Now, to qualify as a pure Neolithic culture, the following are some of the markers: the absence of any form of metal implements, the presence of pottery, the starting of agriculture and domestication of animals, which started with the dog, which helped in hunting. So, this is a stage when the huntsmen were turning to herdsmen, And while some of the other regions of the world were progressing in Bronze Age, here we have in 1500 BCE a purely Neolithic settlement. Now again, if we go a little behind, the regions around 4000 to 3000 BCE, we find the presence of a lot of microliths all around Tamil Nadu. Now microliths are small tools normally made from semi-precious stones like quartz with spears and arrowheads, and which also showed that other than hunting, man had gotten into fishing. And these were excavated from lot of fossilized red sand dunes around the coastal regions of the present Tirunelveli and Thoothukudi district. These are known as the Theri sites, the first of which were excavated in the year 1881 by Robert Foote. And it has been established by the likes of Zionis that the sea in this region must have been around 7 meters higher than the current sea level, and during the successive regression of the sea, they have left these dunes at 3 different levels up to a distance of 10 kilometer inwards from the present area where the coast lies. That is, the sea has moved away 10 kilometers, right? And all these microlithic tools again were basically hunting tools, and these kind of excavations have been going around in Tamil Nadu all along. Some of the more recent sites, for example, would be in the year 2019 in September, a highly polished quartzite stone axe was excavated from the Paraliyaru, which is a branch of the river Tamarabarani, and was dated to around 2900 BCE. More recently, in February 2020, students of the Archaeology Department of the University of Madras excavated and found for the first time a Neolithic ash mound at a place called Valasai near Kudiyatham. Now these ash mounds, which are large land masses, man-made structures, have always left archaeologists puzzled about their purpose. Though as early as 1872, Robert Foote again found these ash mounds in Andhra, and by studying the chemical composition of the ash mound, he found that they were made by burning cow dung, either for pre-ritual purposes or for smelting of some metal ore or for making bricks, we don't know. He compared them to the similar cow dung ash mounds in Africa. Now this was the first time they were found here. So all these excavations, ash mounds and the tools showed that we were hunting and maybe fishing at around 3000 4000 BCE, while what was the rest of the world up to? Now the Sumerians by that time had started building their spectacular ziggurats. They had founded the written script, the cuneiform script, and they were prolifically writing on their clay tablets. We have more than 100,000 of these tablets in intact condition, which shows that they even had their own epic by then, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Now let's go to Egypt. They had their fabulous pyramids, and the first dynasty, the Mastapa dynasty, established as early as 3850 BCE. And back closer to home, we have the spectacular Indus Valley civilization, again originating from around 3000 BCE or plus or minus. And one of the puzzles, of course, of this civilization itself being its undeciphered script. So while, and more spectacular in recent times, in 1994 was a discovery made at Turkey in the province known as Göbekli Tepe. Now made by the German archaeologist Schmid, this has been perceived to be one of the earliest sites of religion, and what has made this most interesting is that there are no human settlements around it, meaning that this had been a place of a congregation for the hunter-gatherers who lived around that region. Is truly spectacular, and probably, as Smith made in his very famous statement, established that religion came even before culture. All this said and done, what was happening in the Tamil country during this time? We do not have any such spectacular discoveries, maybe because we have not yet found them, or maybe because wood was the primary material that was used in construction and tools at that time because of the abundance of hardwood trees like teak, which are very specific to this region. Obviously, there was organic decay, and thanks to the tropical climate, they decomposed and left no traces. How do we know this? As early as 3000 BCE, in the moon temple of Ur in Sumeria, extensive teak was used, and archaeologists are of the opinion that these must have reached Sumeria from the Tamil regions. So, there are gaps in the origin of this ancient Tamil civilization that archaeologists and historians have not been able to fill up using the normal sources, where now we have to turn to language and literature. I would like to conclude this session by quoting Brajbasi Lal, or as he is fondly called in the annals of Indian archaeology as B.B. Lal, who recently celebrated his 100th birthday on May 2nd. He had a very illustrious career starting in the year 1946, where he joined the Harappan sites under the illustrious Mortimer Wheeler and spent the next 74 years researching and publishing his findings, working closely to correlate archaeology and literature, as he has done in his famous works related to the tracing of the regions of the Mahabharata and Ramayana. And he says archaeology is just bones. What adds flesh to this and makes it correlate and relevant is the evidence that is found in literature. And his famous statement, the wedlock of archaeology and literature can resolve many a deadlock. So, we will delve into our language and literature to solve the next part of the puzzle in our next episode. Till then, vanakkam.